G'day everyone, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Monday the 16th of July 2018 and the time here is 10:15 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Well folks, as always, plenty going on. The world's in chaos because Trump's going around the world and telling it like it is, as he should do. It kind of makes me laugh. I reckon they're carrying an Air Force 2 a bus, because it seems to me you can hear the squealing tyres of the buses that keep hitting all these politicians around the world, i.e. Merkel, May, European president. He doesn't take any prisoners, does he? The Queen, you know. Hey, you get in the back, I'm walking first. That was hilarious. All these things, just, it's good to see, you know, getting back to a bit of normality, isn't it, really, in the whole world. Whether you saw it or not, I'm guessing you did, but Rod Rosenstein did a press conference the other day and indicted 13 Russian agents. My theory on that stuff is that it's a theatre, right? I don't get into the Q stuff. The only person I watch that does Q stuff properly is Stroppy Me. If you haven't seen his stuff, go and watch it, because he just reads it out as it should be. He doesn't try to decipher it and go into, you know, lengths of discussion and everything else. He just reads it as it's supposed to be done and leaves it up to the individual to make up their own mind about it. He does a really good job of it, and I'd actually say he's the best one that does the Q stuff, and I'm probably thinking Q probably thinks the same thing. Here's my thoughts. You can't just go and arrest Hillary Clinton and the rest of these bozos. It's just not going to happen. Even if you've got a laptop that's got everything on it that tells you exactly how evil she is, you still can't go and arrest her. Because really, you're just chopping off the head of the snake, and, you know, it grows another head and it moves on. Yeah, there's something like 40,000 indictments at the moment. And what people need to remember is, just because you got an indictment doesn't mean they're going to get arrested. They've probably dragged every single one of those people in, almost, starting from, you know, it's a daisy chain, isn't it? Going up to the top. So these people are slowly but surely, well, as someone put it to me many years ago, there's no honour amongst thieves. You know, they'd be grassing each other up left, right and centre. Well, you're going to get 20 years unless you talk, and we're going to put you in the worst penitentiary in the world with a cellmate called Bubba. You know, all this sort of stuff. So I would expect that three-quarters of those will just be wiped, because they would have given Trump and his team the information they need. It's the quarter that you want. So this Russian thing that came out the other day, in my opinion, they're going to slowly but surely go up, get the information, and start doing a U-turn and start turning back onto Hillary Clinton. That's why this whole thing has been going on so long. Guarantee it. Very soon, you'll see something that says, well, some of these Russians hacked into or were given access to this email account, and we found this email account, and that email account went back to Hillary Clinton's server. Shock, horror, gasp. And then it's all over, folks. That's what they're heading for here. And you can't just do it overnight. It takes a long time. But anyway, moving on. This next bit's for Australians more than anyone, because it's to do with how our banking system works over here and how highly they think of us as individuals. It was quite staggering. Just on the weekend, or during the week, I believe, the agricultural minister here in Australia, I don't know his name, I don't care who he is, to be honest, that's inconsequential, but he actually asked the banks to give the farmers, the drought farmers in Australia, some, you know, freedom of their debts, so to speak. And the banks just went, sit on that and don't tell us what to do. That's how blunt it was. Rabobank, one of the banks, just said, under no circumstances will we be giving any debt freedom to these people. They owe us money, you know. So I'm going to read this to you now. I'm going to show it to you, and you're going to get really outraged when you see it if you haven't already seen it. So this is the article that's in the ABC, Australian ABC, on their news section. Banks rebuff government's calls for drought offset accounts for struggling farmers. That's the first bit. Now I'll go to the second bit. The major banks are resisting federal Agricultural Minister David Littleproud's demand that they offer special accounts for farmers battling drought, with one rural lender ruling it out entirely. You know, these guys are making, you know, $5 billion each quarter, but they can't help struggling farmers out in Australia. Ahead of this week's drought assistant talks in Canberra, Mr Littleproud called on the banks to show a social conscience, yeah, right, and offer farm management deposits, offset accounts. All banks sent representatives to Monday drought talks at Parliament House where the FMD offset matter was raised. Those banks have said they wanted to work with the government, but Rabobank has told the ABC it would not offer FMD accounts at this time. Rural Bank is the only regional lender to offer the accounts. Farm management deposits allow farmers to put up to $800,000 of pre-tax earnings into a separate account to access and pay tax on in a later year, for example, when they are dealing with low earnings in a drought. The government wants the banks to allow the FMDs to be used to offset interest on their loans. Oh, no, we can't have that. Anyway, look, you get the idea. Rabobank has given the strongest response to Monday's meeting, saying it will not be developing an FMD offset product at this time. And if you're in Australia, you obviously know how bad Rabobank is coming out in this what do you call it, the Banking Royal Commission that we've got going on here in Australia, where before I don't know if anyone's aware of this, but before this has even been finished and finalised, Westpac, Commonwealth, ANZ, National Bank, and I believe Rabobank, they've had to pay back something like nearly $20 billion. That's right, $20 billion, and we haven't even finished the Royal Commission. That's how bad it is, and that's how bad it's going to show these banks are. They've raised these issues as they're going along, and everyone's gone, well, you can't do that. You've got to pay that money back. So the banks have just gone, okay, let's get rid of it. Shh. Everyone be quiet. So when this finishes, this is going to be a hell of a shit fight with these banks. And why am I bringing this up? Because the banks have already said, if you hammer us too much, we're going to put interest rates up. Anything the government does from this point on will be met with raising interest rates. So that's how much these shitheads care about us. Incredible, isn't it? So basically they're just saying, you know, well, like I said, give us a bird and that's it. Right, I just want to move on to something. So look, that was a great comment from Bruce as regards to the purchasing power. In the future, your purchasing power is going to go down the toilet. Doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, whatever. You're not going to have a purchasing power. And your purchasing power is going to be dictated by what you've been smart enough to collect, i.e. gold and silver, food, ladies' sanitary items, even ladies' underwear. You know, that's a barterable item. You know, men's stuff don't really give a shit about, because men will, you know, we don't have to wear undies if we don't want, you know, etc., etc. We're a different animal in that regard. So you might be rich, and you might be watching my show here today, and you're thinking, well, I've got enough money to be able to buy 6 years of food and keep myself going for 6 years. Well, at what cost? And what I mean by that is, how are you going to be able to survive 6 years when everyone else around you is falling to pieces? People will eventually click on and understand that you've got something that they want. So you're going to employ security guards around your house? Have you got enough food for 6 years? I don't think so. And those security guards will turn on you in the end anyway. Look, when this bank collapse happens, when this does come, whenever it comes, you're talking about something that's like that. If you listen to Bill Holter, I think describes it best. He says there'll be a calamity on Friday. There'll be a weekend, and you'll come back on Monday and the banks won't open. And then it'll be, wow, what happened there? To the people who don't know. To the people who do know, then it will be a totally different story. Someone asked me about barterable items the other day on an email, and I think I've just gone through some of them. Women's sanitary items, women's underwear, alcohol, coins, and obviously paper money for a short duration will be worth something, but after a while it'll be worth nothing. So I would just recommend that you take, you save 20s, 50s and 100s. Not many either. I'd probably have lower denominations than higher denominations. Someone sees you with a $100 bill, a loaf of bread's going to be a $100 bill. It's as simple as that. And in the future, what's that money going to be worth anyway if it ever comes back online? Who knows? You know, the system's completely rooted. So when they start it up again, what are they going to start up with? That's the main thing. And it'll obviously be gold and silver, platinum, copper. Who knows? It could be any material, but you know, it'd be obviously gold and silver first. Right, let me read you something else. I'm going to show you guys a video, just very quickly, especially those in Australia who think that I'm a raving lunatic, maybe, and I don't know what I'm talking about. The video I'm going to show you is a highly regarded gentleman in economic circles here in Australia who's actually saying exactly what I'm saying to you, but he's an economic financial advisor. I'll show that to you now. It's a YouTube video called Walk the Walk, and the title is Australia's Debt Bomb. This gentleman here, sorry, I can't remember his name, but he's always on TV and stuff anyway. I would highly recommend that you watch that video if you're from Australia, because that bloke who knows what he's talking about and is actually an economic guru tells you quite plainly that we're out of time and you need to get ready. And he's one of the gurus. So I'm not a guru, I'm a financial hack. Listen to that guy. He's a financial guru, and he tells you exactly what I tell you with the financial stuff with it. And it's a really good interview. It's well worth listening to if you're from Australia, and it's well worth sending to your friends and families for them to watch it, because they will believe that guy. Let me tell you, he puts it out in very plain speak. And the interviewer, I'm not sure of his name, he actually lets him talk with the charts and data and everything else. So he basically says the same thing. You know, we're all rooted. It's going to go down. No problem at all. So watch it. Okay, folks, verse of the day, and this is a good one. Therefore, get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. Oh, I'll read it again. Therefore, get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and humbly except the word planted in you, which can save you. Whoa. Excellent verse. And as always, folks, we'll finish with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. Well, folks, just a short one today. I'm going to try and keep them to 15 minutes from now on because of all the problems I'm having. And I don't think anyone's interested after 15 minutes anyway. So, all the best. Prep out.